Well, greetings ladies and gentlemen, and today we are looking at designing Krustyland. Now, in most of my city design videos we actually look at one item specifically and kind of say, well, what are the different ways of designing this item? Whereas today I'm actually going to look at the park as a whole, because a lot of us, I think, at the moment are kind of at this very, very early stage. So what I've done is I've gone through my friends list. I found the people that are just a little bit further ahead, and we're going to see what kind of overall designs they have. So not necessarily how they what they do with the death drop, but how they kind of designed the whole park, you know, how they arranged it, where have they put the different items, what is the kind of feel of it. And we're also a bit later in the video going to have a look at some real life theme park designs and see what we can get into our Krustylands from them as well. So let's get started. Now, one of the nice little functions about the new friends list is that you don't actually have to go into someone's Springfield and then across into their Krustyland. You can actually just go straight into their Krustyland by clicking on it here. So why don't we head over into the other Springfield, which isn't, of course, a real person, although obviously it was designed by someone. But this is kind of like the featured version of Simpsons Tapped Out. Now, what I absolutely love about this design, and I must include in mine, is just inside the main entrance we have got this huge pathed over area here, which really reminded me of when you go into like Disneyland and theme parks. You always have this big kind of main street that kind of welcomes you to the park. You know, when you'll probably have some stalls around, you'll probably have some souvenir gift shops, but it's the big area that says welcome to the park, you are in somewhere quite special. And I love the way that the other Springfield design actually has all these kind of palm trees of course, which are brand new to Simpsons Tapped Out, and they have actually appeared in the main Springfield as well. And this particular one leads us up to the Krustyland Hotel and makes a very, very kind of posh entrance. So I would suggest, actually, no matter what design you give your park, that you put some sort of big paved over entrance, some sort of big central walkway going in from your main entrance, because it really does look how real theme parks look. And then the other Springfield, basically what it does is it blocks everything off into kind of squares, and as expected it kind of puts a few trees here and there, and it kind of partners up a ride with a stall kind of each time. And if you kind of look around, that kind of theme tends to continue. These tents are really, really good, I think, because they're kind of generic. Like, you can't really tell what they are, but the different colours of tent work really nicely as an alternative to just having stall after stall after stall after stall. And we've got loads of these little railings around to kind of give edges of rides and things like that. They're a bit like the old kind of bits of fence that you would get in the original one, but we're going to be spending a lot of money on them, I think. And you can also kind of see by using the other Springfield what kind of rides we've got coming up as well, so it's a good way of kind of previewing what is coming up. And I think this is the final one you get, which is the roller coaster. But nevertheless, we've got a load of good stuff coming up. Now, notice the use of trees here, a big kind of stall section here. You will end up repeating stalls. There aren't that many, so there'll be lots of kind of popcorns around here. But basically this design is kind of like squares over and over, but some of the squares are ride based, some of the squares are concession stand based, and then some of them are kind of decoration based, like this one here. We've got the fountain with some benches around it as well. And think about it, of course, because theme parks always have the big ride, but then they have got loads of bits that are actually just kind of decorations, you know, like a big kind of pirate rock or a load of palm trees. So having these squares around that just kind of got a few benches and trees in it, I think are actually a really good idea. But let's head over to what some of you guys have put together, because some of the lovely people on my friends list are, I can't even say it, friends list, there we go, are way ahead of others. If we head over to Jose Garcia TWD, he has got a little bit further ahead, and what he has started to do, which I love, is queuing sections for his rides using the framed fences. And I think almost every ride he's got here has got some sort of kind of entranceway, and here you can see, you know, just like you get in those theme parks, those queues that go on for hours and hours and hours and hours. And I think that the queues really make the rides feel like real rides in a theme park. And normally, actually, they have the queues fairly well decorated. So do think about how you can spice up your kind of queue sections. And again, we've got rides in certain squares, decorations, like there's no real reason for those trees to be there, and yet it works really well in the theme park, decorating the park as a whole. And obviously we haven't kind of decorated out beyond here yet, but we can see the kind of the design coming together. Rides made to look very, very important, with framed fences and queuing sections, small concession stands dotting around, and the odd little bit of decoration here and there, normally framed with some benches and wildlife. Now, Nuclear Videos is way ahead with his design, and there is some brilliant stuff here that you guys can use in your videos. He loves trees. If you've ever been over to his Springfield or seen any of his videos, you'll see just how many trees he sprinkles around the place. And what I really like about what he's done here is that he's got a combination of haphazard trees, which tend to be kind of like these kind of fir trees, and then very regimented, organised trees, which tend to be the palm trees, and the difference between them works really, really well. This is basically kind of a roller coaster in a small wood section, and then we've got these palm trees here that are completely evenly laid out. And do you remember when I interviewed him, he talked about the entrance ways that he has, and again, you can see here every single ride has either a kind of a spectacular entranceway here using the path, or again we've got this kind of queuing system using the frames. And I think he's got every ride here has some sort of entranceway. And don't worry, remember, it doesn't just have to be the rides that have an entranceway. You can frame up the activity stalls as well. I think it's also important to kind of bring out the difference between something like a Krusty Burger and a popcorn stand, which you can kind of more or less kind of plonk anywhere, and things that are actually kind of games that kind of you want to make kind of stand out in your Springfield again. And again, we've got huge queuing sections. We've built an entire wood around that roller coaster. There we've got a lovely kind of arena with loads of kind of flowers around it. The hotel, very nicely decorated, and again massive entranceways. And what's really nice about this design is that each ride is spaced out. These aren't just kind of cramped in together or anything like that. You know, each ride is given space to breathe, and some of that is actually done by these little sections here of kind of plants. So rather than having the Duff beer right next to whatever this is, the kind of the water thing, we've got these flower strips, which help to just give the whole park a really nice feeling of space. And I guess kind of here we've got this nice kind of food and concession stands there. It might be nice to have some benches around the area to kind of give it almost like a picnic table, lunch area type feel as well. But the fountain makes a really nice centerpiece as well. Now, this is my Krustyland, and as you can see, I am still very, very early on in the creation of mine. What I have tried to do, I talked about getting tickets the other day and quicker ways of doing so. I did buy a few of the premium bonuses that give you more characters there, get an extra ride, and with that money, I've actually bought some of these extra kind of concessions things, which gives me more tasks to do. And things like that. So just a few little tips from mine. I built an alternative queuing system here. So if you really wanted a huge queue, you could actually use the road itself to do so, but I would only kind of do that for your most important rides, not for everything. And a little tip you can do with the fences. If I just show you this, if I just move this palm tree around, you'll notice if I come down here, I can't fit the palm tree right next to the fence. But if I go over here, I can. And the reason for that is simply, if you remember what we've talked about before, fences now turn 4 ways ever since the dock update, and so all you need to do to make sure you can fit things right next to the fences outside is move them so they actually overlap slightly with the path, because you're very unlikely to put things exactly onto the path. I mean, I suppose I could put a bin in the back corner there, but then just kind of turn them round, and you can put your fences round either way and it won't spoil the design and will actually enable you to put things in there carefully. I actually think some of these letters and the rubbish bits actually look pretty nice. I'm not necessarily sure I'm going to leave them right there, but theme parks always have random decorations kind of around the place, and I would say the same about this one, especially this little kind of grey rock thing. I was kind of imagining if I actually had a line of them all in a row, maybe kind of interspaced with some trees and stuff, that could actually look quite effective. So do think carefully before you allow Homer and Lisa to start tidying your Springfield, because once you make those disappear, you can't get them back, and I do think that you could be missing a design opportunity there. But one thing I'm already thinking about in my design is the idea of zones, and I'm going to show you some real life examples of that in a minute. But I've kind of got this idea so far that this is like my dangerous ride zone with the death drop, and then over here I've kind of got my silly games zone. And I'm going to kind of fill that up with decorations as and when I can afford them. And here's kind of like my posh zone with kind of a few trees, and it's all kind of looking rather nice here. And once I get the hotel, which isn't going to be for a while because this is something else building, I might well put that there. But the idea is that not that you'll just put things around randomly, but that your park will have themes for each zone. And I would also be when I said this is my ride zone, I'm not going to put all my rides over here, because normally what you get in theme parks is that each zone in a theme park has one or two big rides, and then the rest of it is all kind of decoration and shops and places to eat and all that kind of stuff. So do think about how you can kind of divide your kind of park up, because we do have different decorations. For example, we've got the palm trees, so you could kind of make a kind of a summer Caribbean type zone. You've got the fir trees, so you could kind of make a Canadian log flumy type zone. You can have you've got those little tent things. Maybe you could go for a kind of a more medievally tent based zone, but try and make it feel like as your people walk around your park that they aren't just moving from ride to ride to ride, that they're actually moving from zone to zone to zone. And you could do that by connecting up how you connect up your zones as well. So you could make an entire zone built around a large area of path set up like that, and then have a small bit of path then connecting one kind of zone to another. And if we just head off into the internet for a minute, just to show you what I kind of mean. Now, this is a map of Disneyland, Euro Disney, in fact, and you can see quite clearly this zones idea as I kind of move the mouse around here. Main Street, USA. So this is going to be all your kind of shops and restaurants, all in this with a big road leading up to some sort of roundabout. And obviously, you can't recreate everything because of the limitations of Simpsons Tapped Out. But the principle that here we've got this kind of very built up area is something we can try and include. And then, like I said, it kind of changes as you go around, because Discoveryland's going to be maybe the science fiction based rides, and maybe in Simpsons Tapped Out that could be, I don't know, maybe the dangerous rides or the thrill seekers rides or something like that. And then you got Adventurelands, we've got all the kind of piratey kind of stuff over here, and I'm sure that we haven't seen the latest or the final updates and final items we're going to get for Krustyland, but it might be worth thinking even now about what kind of things you could come later and where you might put them, and how you're going to kind of group your items together as well. It's not all about Disneyland, other places do it as well. This is Alton Towers, which is one of the biggest theme parks in the UK, and again we've got these zones. If I kind of highlighted some here, we've got the Alton Towers water park. Now I do think it's a shame so far that there isn't a way of adding water into the theme park, otherwise you really could put some rivers in and some boat rides and things like that, but maybe it's all coming later. A golf course, but look at this, in the middle of Alton Towers there is the Gardens, which is this big picturesque area that actually connects two of the more kind of adventurous type areas. And if you've ever been to Alton Towers and walked through this, it's quite serene down here with little kind of pagodas and towers and various things before you actually get to Alton Towers itself, which is actually a kind of stately home which they've converted into a ride called Hex. But the principle is that you don't have to be going ride all the time. You can put things around to break it up, and here we've got the forest here like we saw in Nuclear Video's idea. But look, again, the main entrance, and we've got this kind of restaurants and this big walkway kind of going in straight away there. This is Chessington World of Adventures from 2013, and it used to be Chessington Zoo, and they've actually got a huge animal range on the right hand side of the park here. So it could be that you actually give over a whole kind of third of your park to something that isn't quite so kind of ride based. But my point is, in all of this, is don't just kind of go, here's a ride, there's a thing. Try and think about zones and themes, and do your best to kind of not just use the same decorations all over your park. Keep certain decorations for certain areas, and then use other decorations in other areas, and overall I think you will have a far more satisfying design to your park. Well, I hope I've given you lots of food for thought for your Krustyland. If you've got any suggestions, do stick them in the comments section, and I'm more than happy to make kind of future videos on this subject. And don't worry, I will be returning to my Krustyland as I start to kind of build it up. If you have found this helpful, do give the video a like and do subscribe to the channel if you haven't already for stuff on The Simpsons, and tutorials and mods and loads of other bits and bobs. Take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.